Hey gorgeous, it's time for us to host another dinner party. This time it's a cute and intimate Friendsgiving dinner, which I absolutely loved. It had all the rich, brown, cozy tones that I wanted for an autumn winter dinner. And I'm going to walk you through some of the tips that made it extra special, including place settings, a welcome station, and the most gorgeous dessert. Okay, let's get into it. But first things first, I'm Michelle Marbie Davies, and if you are new here, just imagine if Oprah and Martha Stewart had a baby. I would basically be the end result because I love rich, deep conversations, but I also love hosting and gathering people. Now, the first tip I'm going to give to you to host a dinner party without feeling like you are losing your mind is to put away your groceries, put away everything that you buy and you bring into the house. I know it can feel counterproductive in your mind, and you kind of just want to just do everything straight from the bag or just kind of just go with the flow. No, you want an organized space. That's why when you see professional kitchens, they kind of have everywhere clean and organized and tidy. It really does make a difference. The second tip, if you are doing florals, is to get yourself one of these leaf strippers. They help, especially if you're dealing with roses, so you don't prick your fingers. Now, I love to kind of just relax and play with flowers. You don't have to. Some people use artificial flowers. You can get florals that you can use over and over again. I love roses. Yes, it's a given. And this is one way of opening them up. Ignore me just peeking through. I'm using my wider lens this time, and it's just funny seeing my head kind of poking through. But I love to open them up by spinning them upside down like I did. Or you can reflex them, which is where you gently peel back the petals. This can be tough to do if you have long nails like me, because sometimes you can rip the petals, even if you don't have long nails. If you move with a bit too much force, you can end up just kind of damaging the flowers. But I love how delicate flowers are and how they just kind of force you to kind of just pause and just move with a bit of ease and peace and not be as hasty. But I love kind of just prepping the florals the day before. Actually, I would love to do them 2 days before. What I'm noticing is they need a bit of time to open up and breathe. So I'm learning my lesson now, and I think ideally 2 days beforehand would be great to do the florals. I also laid everything out on the table. As you can see, I have enough space to do this. If you don't, then ignore that. But it just helps you feel a bit less chaotic. This is me making a grid, which don't do what I did and use that masking tape or that brown tape. I ran out of floral tape, but honestly, the show must go on. For some reason, I didn't record a heavy amount of footage arranging the flowers. This is kind of what they look like. I love these deep, deep, deep red, almost they kind of look like brown hydrangeas. I love how they dry out. I have some that have dried out for like 2 years. They're just great. I thought they were a bit too heavy on their own, which is why I added the roses and then that anthurium. But then when I looked at the arrangement initially, I didn't love it. So now I'm going in to add that foliage, that greenery, just to balance out the colors a little bit. This is me winging it with florals. I've never gone to learn professionally, but I think I would like to at some point. But I love when things just feel like they speak to me, like those striped anthuriums. And this is my table where I'd laid everything out, including charger plates. I know, again, yes, I can pull everything out from the cupboard as and when I need them, but I feel a bit less chaotic when everything is kind of laid out. There's structure, there's order, all the glassware, all the cutlery, and then it's easier for me to just polish them on the day of, which you'll see me doing later. But I kind of laid everything that I needed out. I am not typically a very gold person. I don't even wear a lot of gold, even though it looks best on my skin. But I love the way all the gold pieces kind of came together. This is everything on the table. I baked the night before, again, just because it's easier to not feel like a crazy person trying to do it all on the day. Then I made a to-do list. I love using a post-it note to just kind of stick to-do lists on my kitchen cupboards, just so I can see it and I can cross things off, because it's so easy to forget something that you were meant to do whilst you're trying to balance so many different things. And I know some people kind of order food out, have food catered for a dinner party or have florals catered. But if you are someone who's trying to do like almost everything, then you kind of need a list. This is me just prepping some butternut squash and pumpkin. Salt and black pepper works great on that, but sometimes to take things up a notch, I do smoked paprika and ground mixed spice. I think my aunt was the one that showed me about smoked paprika and really just letting it roast down. This is like a pepper sauce I like to make. I literally roast carrots, shallots, and some bell peppers, no green, just red, yellow, and orange, if anything. And then some celery, a heavy sprinkling of olive oil, salt, black pepper, and favoris, which is like flavor rice, which is like this herb dried herb seasoning, and then I just pop it in the oven for like an hour and a half, let it, roast down till it's very sweet, and then I blend it up. Then the mains that I was cooking up for the dinner was poussin, so like baby chickens. I spatchcocked them. Now, I love baby chicken when I go out and I have it, but I need to figure out the secret to making them moist. The chicken taste is good, but it wasn't as moist as I wanted it to be, so I might brine them, and which feels counterproductive because it's such a small chicken, but I might try that for next time. I made some mac and cheese. I am like the only black person that doesn't really like mac and cheese like that, so I typically don't make it. But I did so anyway. Now, what I will say is I had some extra that I put in little ramekins, which you're going to see in a second. I preferred the way those tasted the day after. And my friend told me that mac and cheese actually tastes better the day after. I didn't know that. But I like the concept of doing them in smaller ramekins, and I might do that next time in these little cast iron dishes that I had. I don't know, I just felt like I preferred the way it tasted. The texture was just better in a smaller batch than the big one. I don't know. But this was now after I'd done my makeup. So everything that you saw was kind of the day before, but also the same day. So when I was making the mac and cheese and stuff, that was the same day. I kind of assembled it and put it to the side, ready to go in the oven later. This is me having a little party by myself and polishing the glassware. Ideally, I would have loved to have done this the day before, but time was flying and I wasn't feeling great physically. So I was just moving a lot slower than I would have liked to. But anyway, polish the glassware and the cutlery on the day, and all you do for that is just boil the kettle, and you use the steam to fill up the glass. Like, you put it on the spout of the kettle, the glass, and then you fill it up with steam, and then you wipe it inside with a paper towel or a polishing cloth. But I just use a good quality paper towel. You don't want a cheap paper towel because you will have loads of little bits in your glass. But this is me arranging the table. I'm still going with my typical rule of odd numbers. So I had four lamps, but I put three on the table and then four vases instead. Two of the vases are slightly shorter, two on the outside are slightly taller. These were slightly too high for my liking. We could see each other across the table, but it wasn't comfortable. So my rule is always to make sure that the vases or your floral arrangements or your decor doesn't obstruct people's line of sight from each other. So what I would actually do is get shorter vases next time, or like arrangements that can just lay on the table. This was me shooting some content for Instagram, but I'd gone in again with some more things to add texture to the table. If you are new here, I always say rich tables that look luxurious, tables that look elevated. It's layers. That's all you're doing, adding lots of little layers. It will give it more dimension. Think of someone that you see with a cute outfit. Yes, oftentimes it can be really simple and elevated, but when you want that luxe look, it's very layered. So I have candlesticks in there. And then I also have bread plates. These pearl plates, love, love, love them. Adore the way they look. This time for this dinner table, I did not put my dinner plates on the charger plates because it was just been too much going on, especially because I wanted to do these name card holders. Now, I don't have like the best handwriting. Other people really like my handwriting, but for name cards, I don't love it. So I was like, what about this idea of the 3D letters, which I've seen people do for gift wrapping online for like Christmas presents. So on Amazon, all you have to do is just search 3D adhesive letters, and they stick onto the ribbon really easily. I've also tried peeling them off the ribbon. They come off really easily as well. So you could actually glue it to, you could use it again basically and then dispose of the next thing. Obviously, you'd probably have to glue it with like actual glue the next time you use it. But I thought it was super cute. My ribbon tying skills aren't the best. And what I would actually recommend is getting ribbon that has the same color on both sides. Like the lining or the different color on the other side of the ribbon, I thought just didn't make it look great. But overall, I love the way the table came together. I love the different tones, the different colors that complement each other really well, like the candles with the napkins. Then for the welcome station, I realized I didn't make a floral arrangement. And I was like, but then I realized I had these dried hydrangeas. These hydrangeas are probably like almost 2 years old. I was playing around with a riser. I didn't love the way it looked. So I just was like, forget it. I put the wine, different wines, white wines, champagne that I knew I was going to use, ginger ale, sparkling water, like everything that I knew we would need in the ice bucket for kind of a welcome station, or drinks bucket, should I say. Then this tray from Pottery Barn, which I was like, oh, let me see what it's actually like to use it, to kind of lay things out. Look at me trying to get content on both the phone and the camera. But I love the idea of having a welcome station. I think it's a great way. You can have everything pre-made and put on there and people can kind of pick at what they need, or you can kind of be assembling the drinks or putting the final touches together, once people are in. I made my charcuterie and martini glasses. So I had champagne flutes for kind of this champagne cocktail that I wanted to do. Then I had tumblers. And then I had this plate that is from Danone, which I love. It's like a leaf plate, but it's gold. Love it. It very much reminds me of Costa Nova stuff. Then I remembered that I need to stock up the toilet paper in the bathroom. I think that's such an important thing to not forget. I had already done like the food on the welcome station, so I cleaned the bathroom and stuff earlier, but you need to top up the toilet paper, the hand wash, the hand lotion, so people aren't asking you every time. Then I love those serviettes. Be my guest. I think it's so important to remember. It says "be my guest" on it, but to remember napkins and serviettes on your welcome station, because people are going to be picking up food maybe with their hands. They're going to be touching things, and you want them to have something where they can wipe their hands. I put ice in the drinks bucket, and then I added some water to move things along faster. That's just a trick. My first guest arrived. And then this blackberry syrup that I made earlier, all I did was add some blackberries, some blueberries, some sugar, the same amount of sugar and the same amount of water in a pan. So you're making like a simple syrup. And then I added I think I added something else to the blackberry syrup, I think vanilla. And then I strained it, and then I added it to the champagne flutes. And then I added some elderflower cordial because I knew I wanted it to be sweeter. Elderflower liqueur, sorry, which is, what is that brand called? I worked with them, Saint Germain. Yeah, I love the way it tastes. And my guests were arriving, and I love this part of just talking and keeking with them. Now, don't do what I did, which is put the damn candles underneath the lamps. I don't know why my brain didn't realize. I was so exhausted, and my brain just didn't compute. Hey, flames under candle, don't do that. And I grew up in a Nigerian household. There's nothing you could say to me that I haven't said to myself already. Like, I've abused myself internally already. Like, why would you do that? Like, why would you do that? You know how people say there's no such thing as a super question? In a Nigerian home, there is. But anyway, I quickly learned that I should not put the candle. It didn't burn, it just started to melt it. But anyway, this is what it looked like before that chaos ensued. And here's me lighting the candles, oblivious to the fact. But it's gorgeous. I would just say put the flames not underneath the lamps. And these lamps, I actually had them in a white shade for my event, but I just swapped it out and added these brown lampshades, which I'm like, oh my God, in your house, when you get bored of the way a particular lamp looks, you can just switch out the lampshade. Duh. I don't know why, like, my brain just didn't, again, compute that you can have a totally different look. So now I have these rechargeable lamps around my home with brown lampshades, and I love the way it looks. This is when more of the guests arrived. Did I give everyone a color scheme? I think I said like neutrals, browns, anything that feels cozy, knitwear. I said sexy knitwear. And I loved it. I was so nervous before the ladies arrived because some of the ladies that came, I hadn't hung out with before. Some of them, it's like you talk to people online, but you don't really get to hang out. And I was just like, let's come together and have a cute little dinner and talk and hang out. And a great thing for this as well, which I will mention, is to have conversation cards, things that can help move the night along. If, you're going to be busy with plating up food, or you want to have things that will help people to kind of stay entertained without you needing to be the one that's entertaining everyone all the time. So then I got everyone to sit down after we had a good talk. I think around the table, the island, I asked people to say what they're thankful for. And then we moved to the table and we used the conversation cards. So it was nice. Serve some bread. I love plating up some focaccia in a bowl and some sourdough and passing it round. The bread plates already had butter on them. And then I served up the poussin with some kale salad that had some craisins in there. If I wanted, I could have added some butternut squash to the salad and actually just called it a day. But I also had mac and cheese in those bowls. I had the butternut squash and the pumpkin. I had rice, like a coconutty rice. I'm sorry, I didn't record all that to show you. I'm not going to lie. I find it hard sometimes remembering to record specific things for these videos, but I'm trying. And then at the end of the night, using that same tray that I use for the champagne flutes, I always love to ask people if they want peppermint or green tea. And I just make a big pot of both, and I have some honey on the side, and I can add it for people if they want. But it's such a great thing to offer because people are often stuffed and they just need some relief. This time I didn't serve starters because I had the snacks, the charcuterie in the martini glass. Then I also had, what else did I have? Hummus with some chili oil on top. So the more you serve, the more stuff people are going to be. So I was like, let me just take the starter off the menu. And the starter that I wanted to do was goat's cheese with roasted beetroot, but I couldn't find the golden beetroot, only the purple one. So I'll do that another day. But this was dessert. I always say, if you want something that looks elevated, make the little bundt cakes in these mini buntins, and then it just looks really elevated, like you've done a whole lot more than you did. What I would do next time though is syrup. So simple syrup, which I did make for another cake. Simple syrup, same amount of white sugar, granulated sugar as water. You boil it in a pan, let it reduce, and I add a little bit of cacao liqueur. Um, and it just tastes great, and some vanilla. But I would do that because the mini bundt cakes, I find it's easy for them to dry out. Use any vanilla recipe you like, put it in the bundt cake, add a lot of like butter and flour to the pan, or cake release, just to make sure it comes out easily. But this is what it looks like. I topped it with some toffee sauce, some vanilla ice cream, which is Brickles ice cream, Brickells. If you're in the UK, it's fantastic. And then some blackberries on the side, same blackberries that was from the coulis, or the sauce that I made for the champagne. I just didn't throw the blackberries away, but that was it. We had a fantastic night. It was so lovely to connect with the ladies, and this is me standing at the island eating my dessert. And I have an aunt that likes to stand at the island. And I was always like, is that why you're so skinny? Like, I don't know. It used to work me up because I'm like, why are you standing to eat? But I've tried it, and trust me, that's not why you get skinny. But anyway, this is the day after. I had guests who were amazing, and a couple of them stayed behind to like help me. But we just talked while I was washing up, and I love that part of the night where you're just talking and talking and talking whilst, I'm cleaning up, and they helped me to move stuff off the table. But this was just the day after. My body was like aching, and I was so tired, but it was just nice. I love like seeing all the glassware and things around, and I just start to actually put them away. If I was good, I would polish them whilst I'm putting them away, but I didn't. But that was it. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you learned some things that can help you for your next dinner party. Stay tuned for the next one. Bye.